Did you know Machiavelli didn't write for good men? He wrote for men who wanted to win, not to be liked, not to look virtuous, to win. And if he were alive today, he wouldn't talk to you about pretty love stories, soulmates, or eternal promises. He would talk to you about psychological power, about how attraction really works when no one is pretending, about why some men are always chased and others are always replaced. Machiavelli understood something that is still uncomfortable, but true. In every relationship, there is a silent struggle for emotional control, and the one who wins is not the one who loves more. The one who wins is the one who needs less. Today you're going to understand 11 female weaknesses that repeat like a mathematical pattern inside attraction. 11 blind spots that decide who invests, who chases, and who ends up begging for attention at 2 a.m. staring at a seen message on WhatsApp. While most men over-explain, apologize for existing, and give away their attention as if it's worthless, others understand these rules and completely change the dynamic. Not because they manipulate, but because they stop operating from need and listen carefully. Because weakness number 11 is what separates the average man from the man who is impossible to replace. Many understand the first 10 and still lose everything because they fail to understand the last one. And there's more. The 10th weakness is so powerful that if you execute it correctly, it can change a woman's behavior in less than 7 days. Not because you control her, but because it hits the exact point where her mind stops playing games and starts taking you seriously. If you leave before the end, you'll understand the game, but you won't win it. Now, an uncomfortable truth. You don't lose women because you lack money. You don't lose them because you lack smooth talk. You lose them because you are predictable, because you're always available, because you reply fast, because you explain everything, because you turn yourself into a habit. And what becomes a habit is not desired, it's used. Machiavelli said it differently, but the principle is the same. Whoever controls access controls the game. Most men believe that to attract, they must give more. More messages, more explanations, more validation, more presence. And all they accomplish is lowering their value until she no longer feels the risk of losing them. The day a woman feels she already has you secured, something shuts off. Not instantly, slowly. And when you finally notice, she no longer desires you. She just uses you. Today you're going to learn how to do the opposite. How to turn your presence into something that's felt even when you're not there. How to give just enough at the exact moment with the exact intensity. How to respond without begging, without chasing, and without negotiating your dignity. But if you're not willing to hold this to the end, close the video now. Because once you understand these rules, there is no going back. Before we continue, do this. Write the word control in the comments. Not for the algorithm, for you. Because at the end, I'm going to give you a single sentence. One exact sentence that activates the 10th weakness without arguing, without justifying yourself, and without creating drama. That sentence is where many men either regain respect or lose it forever. Now we begin. Weakness number 1, the most visible, the most addictive, the need for external validation. You see it every day on Instagram, on WhatsApp, in questions that seem innocent but aren't. Did you like it? How do I look? Are we okay? Why are you acting weird? Each one is a micro test. They're not looking for information. They're looking for emotional supply. They're looking to confirm that they still have your attention. When you don't understand this, you react like everyone else. You applaud, you compliment, you reassure, you reply fast. Automatic validation. When you do understand it, everything changes. Imagine this scene. You're with friends. She shares an achievement, something small but important to her. The average man reacts instantly. Wow, amazing, you're perfect, you're incredible. She smiles, but internally, she registers it as noise. Because it was free, because it was automatic, because it had no weight. Validation is not affection, it's energy. It's attention with standards. When you give it without a filter, your value drops. When you give it with intention, your value rises. The silent mistake most men make is validating to secure, so she doesn't cool off, so she doesn't leave, to calm their own fear, and the exact opposite happens. When your validation is always available, it stops being a reward and becomes an entitlement. That's why selective validation is not coldness. It's emotional leadership. It's saying, without saying, not everything deserves my approval. And when you finally give it, it has weight. An automatic good job is worth nothing. A well-timed good, said calmly, at the exact moment, is worth more than 100 desperate compliments. But here comes the first serious warning. When you start doing this correctly, she changes. Sometimes she seeks you more. Sometimes she teases you to provoke you. Sometimes she throws ambiguous comments. Sometimes she tests you with something that sounds like a joke, but isn't. And if you react incorrectly to that first test, you can lose her respect in a single night, even after doing everything right. I'm not going to explain this yet. You'll understand it later, because that's where it's decided whether you're a solid man or just another guy who learned theory. We move to weakness number 2, her relationship with uncertainty. The human mind hates emptiness. It needs closure. It needs to anticipate, it needs to understand, but in attraction, well-managed emptiness is pure fuel. When everything is clear, guaranteed, and explained, there is no tension, no anticipation, no emotion. Predictability kills desire faster than any rejection. Classic scene. She texts you at 9:10, you always reply at 9:11. Same tone, same rhythm, every day. And you think that makes you a good man. Attentive, reliable. But without realizing it, you've become a comfortable emotional service. Predictable, replaceable. Effective uncertainty is not disappearing out of insecurity. It's not punishing with silence. It's not playing games. It's having a life. Your own rhythm, replying when you can, not when you feel pressured, not giving full reports of your day, leaving natural spaces without explaining them. She fills those spaces with her mind, and when the mind fills spaces, it gets attached. But pay attention. This only works if your life has real substance. If it doesn't, uncertainty turns into emptiness, and sustained emptiness is perceived as lack of substance. This is where many men think they're playing it right, when in reality, they're being used as emotional backup. And there is one very specific sign that indicates you've already crossed that line. Almost no one sees it. And when they do, it's already too late. That sign appears right before she mentally repositions you. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'll reveal it when we reach the point where most men lose even after doing everything right. Which brings us to weakness number 3. The difference between a woman thinking about you and a woman feeling deeply connected to you. Many men believe listening is enough. It isn't. Anyone can listen. What's rare is reflecting. Reading the emotion behind the words, naming it precisely, validating it without exaggerating. When you do that, something changes. Her body relaxes, her voice softens. Her gaze holds a second longer, because she feels she doesn't need to explain herself. You already understood, but here's the trap. The moment she opens up, many men lose themselves. They rush ahead. They become too emotional, too available. They confuse connection with surrender, and without realizing it, they cross an invisible line. There's no fight, no drama. She simply downgrades them. If you don't understand this point, it doesn't matter if you do the first 2 perfectly. Sooner or later, you lose position. Stay with me, because in the next part, we go exactly where most men get it wrong while thinking they've already won. And that's where respect is either lost or locked in forever. Let's continue where it truly matters, because if you've made it this far, you've already noticed something most ignore. Attraction is not about making a woman feel good, it's about not losing position when emotion rises. And it's exactly in this stretch where many men, even the ones doing everything right, fall without realizing it. Weakness number 4 appears when her energy changes. One day, she's close, the next day, she's distant. She doesn't announce it, she doesn't explain it, it just happens. And in that micro moment, it's revealed whether you have emotional center or whether your stability depends on her. The insecure man reacts, he asks what happened, he explains himself, he changes his tone, he adjusts his behavior, he chases clarity, he thinks he's fixing something. In reality, he's handing over control of his emotional state. The centered man does the opposite. He observes, he feels, but he doesn't react from anxiety. He maintains his rhythm. He doesn't punish. He doesn't become cold on purpose. He doesn't dramatize. He stays himself. And when she comes back, she finds him the same. That small detail installs respect because she understands something crucial. She can move closer, but she cannot destabilize you. When a woman realizes she does not control your emotional state, she starts to treat you with more care. Not from fear, from perception of value. Well-positioned stability is deeply attractive, but pay attention. Center is not indifference. It's not, "I don't care." Center is feeling without becoming a slave to what you feel. It's listening without absorbing. It's being present without losing yourself. When you achieve that, a rare and powerful combination forms: closeness and challenge at the same time. Security without dependency. Connection without possession. And that combination prepares the ground for weakness number 5. Weakness number 5 appears during chaos. Arguments, stress, pressure, frustration, moments when she is not at her best. This is where attraction is truly tested, not on easy days, but when emotion overflows. In those moments, her emotional system evaluates one thing: do you break with her, or do you remain solid? Many men confuse support with matching her emotional level. They raise their voice, they get hooked, they argue, they defend themselves, and without realizing it, they become part of the chaos. When that happens, her brain registers danger. Not rational danger, instinctive danger. And when there is danger, attraction pulls back. True containment is the opposite. You slow down. You speak more calmly. You say less. You listen without giving up your position. One clear sentence, one calm boundary, and you hold it. You don't threaten. You don't over-explain. You don't justify. You stay there, firm, without fear, without drama. That calm doesn't kill emotion. It regulates it. Her body starts to come down, not because you control her, but because your presence becomes a reference point. Many women test this without realizing it. Not out of malice, out of need. They need to know if the man in front of them can hold them when they can't even hold themselves. If you fail, respect drops. If you pass, something deeper than attraction installs: instinctive trust. And when that trust appears, she starts seeing you in different contexts. That's where weakness number 6 comes in. One of the most uncomfortable ones for many men, because real status cannot be faked for long. Not money, not brands, not titles, presence, how you move, how you occupy space. How others react to your energy when you're not trying to impress. Women observe this constantly, even if they never mention it. How does a waiter treat you? How do other men respond to you? Do they respect you? Do they follow you? Do they challenge you? Real status is not announced, it's perceived, and when it's perceived, attraction reorganizes itself. Imagine a simple scene. You're somewhere and someone interrupts you, talks over you. The insecure man does one of two things. He laughs nervously to be liked, or he explodes to impose himself. Both lose. The man with real status looks. And when he speaks with weight. He doesn't yell, he doesn't shrink. He doesn't ask permission to exist. He says little, he says it clearly, and he moves on. That type of presence shows up in details: posture, tone, economy of words, not over-explaining, not competing for attention, not justifying decisions, being comfortable in your place. And that comfort communicates value, not arrogance. Arrogance is loud. Silent status doesn't need to prove anything. Here's a common trap: confusing status with being harsh, cold, or dismissive. That's not status. That's insecurity in disguise. Real status is calm, solid, consistent. And when a woman perceives it, she starts measuring something else. How seriously do you take yourself? Because from here, something dangerous happens for many men. They think they've already won. They relax. They get comfortable. And that's exactly where the fall begins. The next phase is not about attracting more. It's about not allowing your boundaries to be crossed. And if you're not prepared for that, everything you built before dissolves. There is a tiny signal that appears when you set a soft boundary. It's small, almost invisible. If she responds one way, you know there's respect. If she responds another way, you know she sees you as a comfortable option. That signal cannot be hidden. And it appears right before the point where the dynamic changes forever. I'm not going to reveal it yet. You'll recognize it when we reach the exact moment where most men fail. Up to this point, you already have what most don't: position, center under pressure, containment in chaos, presence that's felt. With that, you're already above average, but you're still not impossible to replace. Because that isn't decided by attraction. It's decided by what you do when someone crosses a line. In the next part, we enter the territory where many men sabotage themselves, thinking they're being mature. Consistency between words and actions, real masculine direction, availability with value, and the doorway to the point where the dynamic changes forever. Stay. Because what's coming next doesn't increase desire. It makes losing you feel risky. If you're still here, it's because you've already understood something most men avoid accepting. Attraction isn't what fails. Coherence is. Many men reach this point convinced they've already done everything right. They generated interest, they sparked emotion, they maintained presence. And still, something breaks. Not suddenly, silently. That break begins exactly when closeness increases and the first inconsistencies appear. This is where weakness number 7 comes in. Weakness number 7 appears when she starts to feel comfortable, when she's no longer trying to impress you and you're no longer trying to impress her. That's when she stops evaluating only how she feels with you and starts evaluating whether you take yourself seriously. She watches one very specific thing: the coherence between what she says and what she does. And even more important, how you react when there is a contradiction. People talk a lot. Honesty is the most important thing to me. I can't stand being ignored. I hate games. But then they arrive late without warning. They disappear when something doesn't suit them. They change their version of events. They justify. And most men, out of fear of making things uncomfortable or losing her, swallow it in silence. They tell themselves it's not a big deal, that it's not worth bringing up, that it's better to let it slide, that silence is not maturity. It's fear in disguise. And every time you do it, you teach something without saying a word. Your standards are negotiable. The man who masters this point doesn't accuse, doesn't fight, doesn't raise his voice, doesn't enter drama. He observes, he remembers. And when the right moment comes, he returns coherence calmly. You said this was important to you. Pause. That's why this caught my attention. Nothing more. No irony, no sarcasm, no reproach, just clarity. That moment creates two things at the same time: exposure and respect. Exposure, because she realizes you're not distracted, not asleep. Respect, because you're not attacking. You're holding a standard. Many men avoid this point out of fear of losing her. But here's the truth few want to accept. When you don't hold coherence, you're already losing yourself. And when you lose yourself, sooner or later, they lose you too. When a woman perceives that you remember what she says, that you observe what she does, and that you're not afraid to point out inconsistencies calmly, she stops seeing you as an emotional option. She starts seeing you as a man with standards. And that opens the door to weakness number 8, one of the most decisive and least talked about. Direction. I'm not talking about having life figured out. I'm not talking about knowing everything. I'm talking about not being lost, not moving on inertia, not reacting to everything around you. Many men are physically present, but internally drifting. They change opinions depending on who's in front of them. They seek approval before deciding. They ask too much. They doubt everything. And without realizing it, they place the woman in a position that kills attraction. The position of guiding them. A woman does not want to carry a man's emotional direction. She can do it for a while, but it exhausts her, it drains her, it shuts her down. And when she shuts down, she starts looking outside for what she doesn't feel inside. Real direction isn't shouted, it's felt. It's knowing what you want and acting accordingly. Even if not everyone agrees, it's making decisions without asking for emotional permission. It's moving forward calmly. When a man has direction, he doesn't need to impose, he moves. And whoever wants to walk with him, walks with him. Whoever doesn't, falls behind. That creates calm, and well-positioned calm is deeply attractive, because it communicates something simple and powerful. This man knows where he's going, with me or without me. And that perception changes the dynamic. You're no longer someone who reacts to life, you're someone who drives it. But here comes a dangerous trap. Many confuse direction with rigidity, with harshness, with control. That's not direction, that's insecurity wearing a mask. Authentic direction is flexible, but firm. It listens, but decides. It considers, but moves forward. It doesn't need to justify every step, and that naturalness is what makes it attractive. We arrive at weakness number 9, one of the most misunderstood: the relationship between security and availability. Most believe that to create security, you must always be there, always respond, always adapt, always give in. And once again, the opposite happens. The kind of security that maintains desire is not born from absolute guarantee. It's born from constant choice. When a woman feels she has you secured no matter what, her system relaxes too much. Tension drops, investment drops, care drops. But when she feels you are present because you choose to be, not because you need to be, something recalibrates. She starts valuing you more, caring more, investing more, not from fear, from perception of value. This is not achieved by disappearing, not by playing childish games. It's achieved by having a life that does not revolve around one person. Real priorities, your own rhythm, natural boundaries. When she cancels a plan last minute and you always accept like nothing happened, you teach that your time is cheap. When you keep your schedule, your calm, and your dignity, you teach that being with you is a choice, not a right. That balance is subtle, but powerful. You're available without being automatic, close without being dependent, present without losing yourself. And when a man achieves this, the dynamic shifts without a single word. She starts measuring something new. What happens if she loses you? Not dramatically, silently, and when that thought appears, it's a sign she no longer sees you as backup. She sees you as value. This is where many men sabotage themselves. They feel her investing more, and they rush to secure. They cancel plans, they change priorities, they adapt too much, and without realizing it, they destroy the tension they themselves created. The key is understanding this. Availability with value is not explained. It's lived. You don't say, "I'm busy," you simply are busy. You don't threaten to leave, you simply don't tolerate what doesn't align. And all of this brings us right to the edge of the most delicate point. Because when attraction exists, respect exists, direction exists, and real investment exists, the moment that defines everything appears. The instant where it's tested whether your boundaries are real or just pretty words. That moment doesn't announce itself. It appears small, almost invisible, a comment, a joke, a disrespect disguised as play, a subtle manipulation, a repeated inconsistency. What you do there decides whether everything you built consolidates or collapses. In the next and final part, we enter weakness number 10. The point where the dynamic changes forever. The cut. The exact sentence. The action many men are afraid to execute. And because of that, they lose everything. And after that, weakness number 11. The one that holds everything together when nobody is watching. Integrity. Stay. Because what's coming next is not to impress anyone. It's so you never betray yourself again. If you made it this far, you're no longer looking for techniques to be liked. You're looking for something more dangerous. Not betraying yourself when pressure appears. Everything before this prepares this moment, because attraction can be sparked with selective validation, uncertainty, presence, and direction. But it only consolidates when a real boundary appears. And this is where most men fail. Even intelligent men. Even men who already understand the game. Weakness number 10 is not a pretty sentence or a psychological trick. It's an internal decision. It activates when a woman crosses a line. And it's not always something big. Sometimes it's a disrespectful comment disguised as a joke. Sometimes it's a small but repeated lack of respect. Sometimes it's subtle emotional manipulation. Sometimes it's an inconsistency you've seen before and chose to ignore. That exact instant defines everything. The average man reacts in two ways. He negotiates, he explains, he justifies himself for hours trying to make her understand. Or he explodes, he gets angry, he says things he later regrets, and then he comes back. Both reactions teach the same thing. His boundaries are not real. And when a woman perceives that your boundaries are flexible, the dynamic tilts. It doesn't matter how much desire existed before. It doesn't matter how strong the connection felt. Respect starts to erode. The man who masters this weakness does something completely different. He doesn't argue his standard. He doesn't threaten. He doesn't dramatize. He doesn't try to win the conversation. He executes. He lowers his tone. He stays calm. He looks directly. He says little. And he acts. That action, more than words, is what reorders everything. In the exact moment, he says something short and clear. This doesn't work for me. Pause. I don't stay in dynamics like this. And he walks away, not to provoke, not to manipulate, to respect yourself. He doesn't need to convince, he doesn't need to explain, he doesn't need her to agree. Because respect is not negotiated, it's exercised. And here's what happens next. Within 24 hours, her mind goes into alert. Because she's no longer in front of a man who tolerates out of fear. She's in front of a man with real consequences. She may react with pride, with anger, with tears, with tests, with silence. It doesn't matter. What matters is what her mind registers. With you, respect is non-negotiable. This is the point where many feel vertigo. Fear of losing her. Fear of being alone. Fear of having gone too far. But here is the truth few accept. If you are not willing to lose someone who crosses your boundaries, you already lost yourself. And when you lose yourself, sooner or later, they lose you too. Now the exact sentence I promised from the beginning. The one that activates this weakness without discussion, without drama, and without justification. Use it only if you are willing to back it with actions. If not, don't use it. I don't stay where respect is lost. I wish you the best. That's it. No explanations, no debates, no long messages, no paragraphs. What closes has weight, and what has weight reorders the dynamic. That sentence doesn't seek to control, it seeks to close. And closing with dignity is one of the strongest status signals that exists. When a man executes this cut once in his life, something changes forever. He no longer tolerates what he used to tolerate. He no longer sells himself for attention. He no longer betrays himself out of fear of being alone. And strangely, from that point on, he starts being treated very differently. Not from fear, from respect. That takes us to weakness number 11. The last one. The most silent one. The one that holds everything together when nobody is watching. Integrity. Integrity is not what you say in a video. It's not what you promise in a conversation. It's what you do when nobody sees you, how you talk to yourself, how you handle frustration, how you make difficult decisions, how you get up when things don't go as planned. Women perceive this without proof, without conscious logic, without explanations. They perceive it through intuition. Because your energy exposes your internal coherence. A man can talk about standards and not have them. He can talk about self-control and be a slave to his anxiety. He can talk about dignity and sell himself for attention. Integrity is when your actions and your identity don't contradict each other. When you don't justify yourself, when you don't abandon yourself, when you don't betray yourself to avoid being alone. When a woman perceives integrity, something very particular happens. She stops seeing you as an option. She sees you as a solid point, as a complete man, not perfect, complete. And that perception changes everything. Because desire can fluctuate, emotion can rise and fall, but respect sustains. And without respect, nothing lasts. This is where many ruin everything. They hear 11 weaknesses and try to apply all of them at once. They obsess over executing, they become rigid, they become artificial, and they return to neediness. So the key is not to do more, it's to be more consistent. I'll simplify it so you don't get lost. This week, choose one single thing. One. And live it for real. If your problem is that you always chase, stop giving away validation. If your problem is that you're seen as guaranteed, recover your life rhythm. If your problem is that you lose yourself emotionally, build your center. If your problem is that you tolerate disrespect, execute the cut once, calmly, with action. There will be women who don't fit this level of standards, and that's a good thing. Because when you raise your standard, you filter. And a man who filters stops begging, stops explaining, stops chasing attention. If this video gave you clarity, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Not for the algorithm, for you. To mark the exact point where you stopped moving from lack and started moving from calm control. This isn't about winning someone, it's about never losing yourself again. And when a man stops losing himself, he stops being replaceable. Yeah,